Huntington University's campus was flooded with 4 colors this past weekend. Find out what was going on.
And we have the answer to what is happening with printing on campus. HTV News starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to HTV News. I'm Blair Caldwell.
And I'm Brianna Santiago. Students' voices were hoarse and traces of paint were scattered across campus as Olympiad 20 took place. We suited up photojournalist Brooks Hooley to cover all the action firsthand.
This year, for me personally, it's a lot more spirited. I definitely get into it more, and each year I think you get a little bit more into it.
To say that I didn't expect this much enthusiasm. Like, I thought we would start out with a disadvantage being pink, but honestly I think that we've really made up with it with our creativity. Like, I've seen Barbie dolls like everywhere and it's just been insane.
The blue team, known as the Blueberries, won the 20th Olympiad. The pink Barbies came in second, followed by Yellow Lightning, and then Catching Fire, the orange team.
Printing on campus has been down and out all year long, but last week Technology Services just announced that the new system is up and running. Last Monday and Tuesday they had an installation walkthrough to discuss the process of how to print from any device on campus. Tech Services plans to have documentation available soon, but until then you can stop by the Science Hall during their normal hours. They also plan to have another installation event soon. Adam Skiles, Director of Tech Services, told us in an email, quote, "Overall, I am excited about the new printing system. I believe it will provide a service to students that will make printing more accessible and provide features that were not available to them before, such as scanning. The feedback we have received from students who attended our install event and have been using the system has been very positive." Students with new Mac software are experiencing problems, but Tech Services is working with students to address this problem. Meantime, Skiles advises students to avoid the update if possible.
With Forrester basketball almost in full swing, the new live stream equipment will be put to good use. Since the Crossroads League came to HU last year, the university is required to stream all of the games live online this year. Fans can expect a better viewing experience with new cameras and equipment for clearer picture and more graphics. Livestream will cover every home basketball game along with campus events like President Sherilyn Emberton's inauguration.
Last year all we had was a couple of outdated cameras and a laptop provided by the athletic department. This year we purchased a whole different cutting edge technology. There's a computer, 3 high definition cameras, plenty of new equipment to make it look like we're in 2013 instead of 2006.
Parents and fans can watch the live stream events at youtube.com/Huntington University.
Enough is enough, said a student who is taking a stand for a local mission trip. He and a few others have decided to go to Haiti on their own since the university cannot afford to send them. Senior Matt Whitney said that he was disappointed when he found out that the Haiti trip would no longer be offered this year. He, along with others, had been saving their money all summer to return. When they heard it wouldn't be offered, Whitney, along with junior Hannah Bowles, decided to take a group to Haiti's Mission of Hope. The university cut the Haiti trip because of its rise in cost this year, but that didn't matter to these 5 students.
A lot of disappointment because I was looking forward to that. Over the summer I worked a lot to raise money to go, and so I came to school expecting another trip, preparing to go to that one and go back to Haiti, and then I found out that it wasn't happening. It was a lot of disappointment.
Since the trip to Haiti is not run by the university, the students do have to raise funds on their own. You can, however, make donations to their trip at razoo.com.
An HU professor got a unique opportunity when he was asked to go speak across the world. Professor of English Dr. Todd Martin went to England this past month to speak about literature. He spoke in Northampton and also in London, where he said he was more anxious than other lectures he has given.
It was a greater deal of nervousness, I think, because I didn't know my audience. Here for the Forster lectures, I know students. I know kind of what the student body is like. I know a lot of the faculty members. There, I had no idea who's going to be in the audience, if they're going to try to challenge me in some of my ideas. And plus, it's an international lecture, and I wanted to make sure it went really well. So, I put a lot of effort into it.
Martin hopes to return to England sometime in the future.
After the break, we sit down with the news editor of the Huntingtonian to talk about the future of Huntington's Peoria campus.
Plus, we'll take a look at all of the homecoming festivities, including the new and improved activities.
The American Legion. We're a powerful force for the nation. We're patriots through and through. We believe in our flag and all that it stands for. Our Constitution, our Pledge of Allegiance, our way of life are all fundamental to maintaining our freedom and the standing that we have as the greatest country on earth. We promote and defend these values every day in communities across the nation. Go to legion.org to find out more about the American Legion's commitment of service to America.
Welcome back to HTV News. We are joined now with Huntingtonian reporter and news editor Jamie Hilligans. Jamie, you've been covering the potential Peoria campus all year now. So you recently had a meeting with Dr. Emberton. What did she have to say?
Well, instead of funding institutions to come to Peoria to set up temporary campuses, the city of Peoria has decided to build a permanent campus instead. Peoria's original plan was to set up temporary campuses and then in 8 or 10 years build a permanent campus. They have decided to cut out this middle step of temporary campuses and go straight to a permanent campus.
Okay, so how does administration feel about this maybe setback in their plan?
Administration is accepting of this decision. President Emberton said that as long as the university was seeking the Lord, administration was fine. She didn't think that anyone wanted to risk going into a lot of debt just to push the campus forward.
So let's say that we do go through with this new campus in Arizona. What will that look like?
The campus will be built in the growing community of Estancia, which is located in Peoria. The vision is to create a residential campus with Forester Village-like apartments, with classroom buildings that look a lot like our classroom buildings, built specifically for Huntington programs, internships available nearby, and restaurants and entertainment within walking distance.
So it should potentially look a lot like Huntington's campus now?
Yes.
Okay, so this all sounds great. So should we plan on having a Peoria campus by 2015?
President Emberton said that as long as things go as they look like they're going now, we can expect a campus by 2015, 2016.
So all things point to yes for now?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, Jamie. You can catch the latest issue of the Huntingtonian on newsstands now. Also, you can read all of their stories online at thehuntingtonian.com.
Students, faculty, and alumni got together this past month for the annual homecoming celebration. With a revamped parade, a new concert event, organizers say the weekend was a big success. I went out to get a first-hand look at this year's changes. As Huntington celebrated its annual homecoming festivities, and this year there seemed to be an extra buzz of excitement. The Student Activity Board stuck to tradition and kicked off the activities with the HU Parade. But with the inspiration of the school's new president, Dr. Emberton, the parade was filled with much more enthusiasm. The resident halls were given the opportunity to participate in the parade, and Olympiad spirit points were given to the floors with the most creative floats. Homecoming would not be complete without the crowning of a king and queen. This year's winners were Essie Kaufman and Nate Sullivan.
I think it's cool that Huntington doesn't necessarily look at like who is the most popular, who is the most attractive to things like that. The other candidates that were beside me up there were all really incredible people, both in like the spiritual aspect and just their personality is great. I think it's really cool that that's the kind of person that Huntington elects.
Of course, campus also hosted the Powder Puff Championship, Norm's 20th birthday party, a women's soccer game and pregame tailgating party, as well as other various activities for students, their families, and alumni to participate in. The fun-filled weekend ended with the one and only Davis Hall Follies. This year's show was filled with a variety of extremely talented acts, including comedy, singing, and interpretive dance, along with a special appearance from the university's own president.
Well, they tricked me. They told me to come, and I had a very small part. And then I walked in the room and they were all dancing, and I thought, okay, well, I'll have my part at the end. And then they said, no, you just kind of work out with us at the back. So I was at the back behind Joseph Brenneman. The next time I came to practice, I was in the front of everybody. It was horrible.
This year, the interpretive dance number Daydreamer stole the show.
Being a performer, sometimes the audiences can be dead and it's just not fun at all. So they were so supportive of every act, and I'm just so thankful that they enjoyed our act, and I'm so thankful for them.
And I will practice next year, and I will be better.
It's only a matter of time before the school starts planning next year's festivities. But as for now, Huntington University's Homecoming 2013 was a success. For HTV News, I'm Bree Santiago.
Homecoming didn't just recognize the king and queen, but also the new president. Dr. Sherilyn Emberton was officially inaugurated as Huntington University's first female president. After the ceremony, we wanted to know what students on campus thought about the new president and her effect on campus so far. We talked to 10 people on campus, and not a single one had a negative thing to say. They described her as a go-getter, personable, and genuine. Students like her availability, and faculty praise her effectiveness.
My first impression was she was super personable. I think the first time I met her, she hugged me, and every other time I saw her after that.
I think she does a really good job of rallying people behind her. And that's a very good skill to have as a new president coming in.
I think that if something's not working properly, that's not acceptable for her, but she's also not just telling people to fix it, she's helping them come up with solutions and being a part of those solutions.
It's gonna be a big change from what we've seen previously.
In Dr. Emberton's address, she said that her mission at HU is to never forget the community or the students that she serves. She plans to do this by spending less time in her office and more time on campus. Even as we were on the mall, she approached our reporter to ask how things were going. Students we talked to already noticed the changes she is making.
The hub was filled with music to discuss the impact that lyrics have in our world today. Explicit Listening, hosted by Residence Life, took place this past month. Katie Nelson, a recording artist who travels across the country, spoke about how to make smart listening choices. Nelson has recorded 3 albums, and her most recent is set to release this winter, called Lavender and Lace, an anthology of Queens. She played a few songs for the crowd. After that, joyful noise played, and students were invited to join in worship through song. Matt Whitney was one of the RAs in charge of this event. He says he thought the event ran very smooth.
I thought that Explicit Listening was a great event. The turnout was really good for it. We had at least 118 people from our estimate, which was great. One good thing about it was that our speaker ended up being really good, and I feel like what she said really had a good impact on campus.
Over 100 students showed up to Explicit Listening. The next Residence Life event will be on November 12th.
Another installment of the Forrester Lecture Series took place this month. And Dr. Laura Bates is the author of Shakespeare Saved My Life, 10 Years in Solidarity with the Bard. She is also an English professor at Indiana State University. Bates has worked with convicts the past 25 years in maximum security prisons. She says Shakespeare has literally changed their lives. Bates told stories of inmates who's terrified her, but in the end, Shakespeare changed their hearts and attitudes.
The future for programs like this, I would say that they become more and more essential. The state of Indiana used to have a correctional education program. Funding no longer exists for that. So the situation in Indiana prisons right now is especially, I think, dire in the sense that these kinds of educational programs are really needed, really crucial.
Forrester lectures are done for the semester, but will resume again next semester.
Instead of sitting at home relaxing for fall break, some students decide to serve a community in need. Sophomore Jake Cross led a fall break trip run by the Friesen Center to Piedmont, Missouri. The team of 6 entered the community that had been affected by flood damage. They were able to rebuild homes, landscape, and also connect with family members that they were helping. Cross says that the trip was worth all of the hard work.
It was a very difficult trip. We were in the crawl space of a house for a total of over like 15 hours. A lot of us were digging a lot of holes, moving a lot of heavy like branches and chopping up branches and just having to move a lot of heavy stuff. At the end of the day, we got to see how, we just got to see the look on the families' faces when they could just see their house getting closer and closer to being ready to move into. And it was, they were so grateful. It was awesome.
The Friesen Center will offer many other trips this spring. You can stop by their office to learn more.
And while some students were going to different states to serve, others just sailed away to local businesses to help out. Students on campus took part in the annual Fall Workday. The theme was Sail Away. They were given the opportunity to leave campus and serve the community. Resident hall floors spent nearly 4 hours serving 18 different work sites. Students' work included cleaning, landscaping, and organizing items for pantries. Friesen Center Coordinator Shayna Christian says the day ran very well.
Fall Workday's an annual thing. We do Fall Workday, we do the plunge, and Spring Workday, and a lot of the sites that we do have, they're regulars. Like, we always contact them and they always have work for our students. I ended up with about 18 sites, and then the day before we had one group cancel, and then about 5 minutes before we had to send people out, one group but 2 sites canceled, which was about 20 people I had to place other places. So that was a little bit hectic, but it all worked out.
This year's workday had over 200 volunteers.
A local Fort Wayne woman has been raising a squirrel as her own after she found it abandoned. That's right, a squirrel. But 6 months later, the Department of Natural Resources has decided to confiscate the pet. The caretaker, Sarah Householder, fears that her beloved Rocky will not be able to survive outside of her home.
They've sent animal care and control out, and animal care and control came out, looked at him, looked at his cage, looked at everything we feed him, talked to us for quite a little while. They said everything is in compliance with everything that is required. The only thing holding us back from getting the permit is the fact that we didn't get the permit prior to getting Rocky. So there again, we go back to, how do you get a permit for something you don't know you're going to find? My in-laws had some trees cut down, and the guy they hired to cut the trees down, he had cut into the nest, but he had killed the mother and one of the other babies. First 5 to 6 weeks, I had to hand feed him every 2 hours. So I mean, to take care of him all this time and then to have somebody take him from us. It's like having my own child taken from me, to be honest.
The Department of Natural Resources did take Rocky away, but the householders are fighting to get Rocky back.
It's so sad. Their poor squirrel pet.
I just can't even imagine. It's like someone taking away your dog.
I know. And obviously he loved him. He was sitting on her shoulder and everything.
That would be so heartbreaking.
Well, let's check the weather to make sure Rocky's going to be okay until he gets back to their home.
Sounds like a great idea.
So Friday, it looks like it's going to be pretty windy here in Huntington with a high of 57, a low of 41, still pretty warm. On Sunday, we've got a low of 31, on Saturday, a low of 31, high of 50, part chance of rain. And then on Sunday, partly cloudy with a high of 50 and a low of 35.
That seems like a beautiful weekend for November.
It's definitely out of the ordinary, probably
Right?
a little nicer than normal.
No snow.
No.
I can handle
Thank
it.
goodness. We can't do that yet. That's all we have for you today in this installment of HTV. Make sure you check out our website, htvnews.net, and follow us on Twitter at HTV News _HU.
As always, thanks for watching HTV News, your source for all your campus and local news headlines. Have a nice day.
That was a lot better, except for my flub with Jane.